Earlier this year, I thought maybe it was time to break out the old wheel horse 520H. It's just been sitting around collecting leaves and whatever else, and get it back up and running to be able to use it in the garden. We have several attachments for this thing, and it makes it pretty easy to work up a garden when you have the single bottom plow, a disc, a tiller, and a couple other options to put on this tractor. Now, this one hasn't been running for, I want to say, a good 2 or 3 years. So it was definitely a little worse than what I remember when it got tucked away. And you can see here there's a bit more rust. And when we opened up the air cleaner, there was plenty of stuff inside the air cleaner cover there. Something was possibly even living in there. So we'll see what we can do with this thing to try to get it up and running. The battery's dead, tires need some air, normal things like that. But not too sure about the carburetor yet and what else we're gonna find as we get into it. It took some tinkering. It's not running the best, but it is up and running. But we got this old horse up and running, as you saw there. But it's not running right. It's not running properly. Um, One of the problems we have is there's some stuff on the bottom of that gas tank, and we didn't really know what's in there, what all's in there. We had some fresh gas, but there was still a little something in there, and I'm pretty sure the fuel lines are probably going to need to be replaced coming from the tank up through. Actually, whole way from front to back, just going to need to be replaced. But because we're in a hurry and we need to get this thing running so we can use it in the garden, because we actually have a day out of work and it's not pouring down rain, um, we're just gonna have to get this thing up and running as quick as we can here to get it to work right away. Um, so first thing we did was down here, well, up here, we'll start up here, replace the fuel filter. Now this is where they are from the factory, in that location there. If you're familiar with John Deere tractors, the 318, 420, some of the other ones that use Onan engines, this is the common spot for the fuel filter. Right up here in that hose between the carburetor, which is right back there, down here to the fuel pump. Now, I am not a college educated engineer, so maybe somebody out there can tell me this. If you've ever replaced one of these fuel pumps on an Onan, you know that A, they're expensive, and B, if it's on a John Deere, like a 318, and that vacuum hose that goes in the backside of that fuel pump falls back down and behind the shroud, you're going to be in for a lot more work there if you can't fish it back out. So, what I can't figure out is why they would have the fuel filter after this fuel pump. Why not put it in the line before the fuel pump so that you lower the chances of anything getting in here, ruining this fuel pump, causing that diaphragm in there to break or crack or to eat away at it. It doesn't really make sense to me, but that's what we did here. We put another filter in the line here because, like I said, we got to get this thing to work right away. We know there's probably some kind of crap in the tank there, and that fuel line needs replaced, so we'll get the most of it out. We doubled up our filtration there, so we should be good now, and we'll definitely see, what is coming through here before it gets into our fuel pump and just piles up in there. So that part's good to go. Next thing we're going to need is we're going to need a new battery because this one is several years old, and our voltage regulator is not working. We hooked another battery up here and had this thing when we had this thing running, but the charging system, the regulator is not working. And again, we're in a hurry. We need to get this thing to work. It's the weekend. We're not finding an Onan voltage regulator anywhere nearby anytime soon. So I got a Kohler one laying here. I know. That's sacrilegious to you guys, you Onan guys and wheel horse guys, because it's not factory and not original. But the job needs to get done. So we're going to throw a Kohler one on here quick and get this thing up and running so we can use it today. And then when everybody's open on Monday, we'll shop around for an Onan voltage regulator to stick in there and put this thing back to normal. So That's the next project here. Going to throw the voltage regulator on it, get the charging system back up and operating, and then we're ready to take this thing out and work it. So we put our other voltage regulator on there. We have this thing running, it's charging, and check this out. Remember how I said I put that extra fuel filter in the line before the pump because I just never knew why they didn't do this on these tractors before. It seems like everything that came with an Onan, the fuel filter was already there between the fuel pump and the carburetor. So none of the equipment manufacturers bothered putting a filter before that fuel pump. Well, you can see in ours, it's a good thing we did that. Look at everything that it collected in this fuel filter not long after we started it back up and started running it again. Crazy that all that stuff would be not only going through our fuel pump, but through our carburetor and through our engine. So if you have one of these machines, if you have anything with an Onan on it and you have that factory setup yet, you might want to think about adding another filter like this in the line before your fuel pump. Just some extra protection there. So now the wheel horse is ready to go. Got the engine running, got some gas in it, checked the oil, greased everything at the front end there, got air in the tires, put another battery in it, starts and runs, it's ready to go. Now, one of the things we love about the 520H is that it has the hydraulic lift. So we put a slot hitch on the back of this thing, and we have this disc that we use. We have a single bottom plow. We have a tiller, which we got to do a bunch of work to it yet too, and a couple other attachments that we have that work on that slot hitch, so we can lift those attachments up and down when we're driving, through the grass or whatever, going from point A to point B. We don't have to have the attachments dragging on the ground, chewing the grass up. Looks like we're gonna have to adjust the cable for this lift system, but this is how it works here. It just picks these attachments right up so you can transport them from point A to point B without tearing the grass up. So our wheel horse 520H is all back up and running. Between the time that this video posted and when we took all these videos and pictures, we did a good bit of work with this thing. We used a single bottom plow a good bit, actually put some bar tread tires on the back of it. If we get a chance, we'll post some more videos showing you some of the things we do with our 520H now that we got it running pretty decent, and it's a lot more reliable. So, as always, if you haven't subscribed, please do so, and thanks for watching.